Hi, Problem Stats kids. This is Dr. Callahan for week 5 Tuesday. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions for your warm-up log. Okay, let's go ahead and create your assignment. Make sure you are checking in with me on a regular basis. This is especially important since we're still in a hybrid model and your attendance does matter in addition to your assignment. So if you take a look at this right here, I do have your updated grades for Monday. That's always posted on Monday. So take a look at it, take a look at your student ID, see where you guys are currently. And if there's anything that you are not satisfied with, you're always welcome to go ahead and make up for it. Although I have to say, the sooner that you actually do make up for something, the more percentage you will be awarded. So I suggest not delaying the process for too long. So let's go ahead and do this. So today, this is for week 5 Tuesday. It's for Prob and Stats, semester 2. Your instruction is to make sure you view the assignment, watch the video, and then upload your assignment. Now, remember, you guys have 2 links for your assignment. One is to the YouTube channel. The other one is your Google Doc for the textbook and also all the links to the activities for this class. Today, we are actually going to be talking about, it's going to be a continuation of 7.2, day 1 on page 8 of your guided notes. And we're going to talk about hypothesis testing for mean using large samples. Now we've done talking about this with small samples, of 30 or less, but we have not done this for large means. So we will be doing that. There are 10 points assigned. There are 2 classes. So this is going to be going for 2 different classes. And as always, your assignment is always due by 3 p.m. the day of. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with this. So here is the breakdown of what you should have currently. So as I'm looking at this right here, this is your breakdown for today. Tomorrow, you guys will have a quiz on 7.2. There will be 2 questions, 1 multiple choice and 1 fill in the blank. Today, I'm going to talk about hypothesis testing for a mean using large samples. You will need a z-table to make the determination whether to reject the null hypothesis or fail to reject the null hypothesis. And we're also going to be working on objective number 6 and 7 on page 19. I'm also going to have you guys do a Venn diagram of the experience of what you think college will be versus high school. And also there's a survey I'm gonna have you guys take to give you a quick glimpse as to see how ready you are for college. And your homework tonight is for number 3 to 14 all for your textbook. You just go to week 5 Tuesday on the Google Doc to access that. Make sure you do show the work on the back of your homework template. All right, so this is the paper that you should have. Now, if you don't have this, you can go ahead and print this out in class or maybe just take a screenshot of it with your cell phone camera. I do that all the time sometimes if I can't print something out. And just so you have that readily available, and I will have this printed out. You can grab a hard copy the following day when I see you in class. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get this started. First thing that I have you guys do is go ahead and read the objective of the I cans, or can you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. A p-value is a number found from the z-table to make the determination whether you're going to reject the fail hypothesis or null hypothesis or fail to reject the null hypothesis. And this is what you should have, okay? So when you're making a decision for this, keep in mind that you're going to compare the p-value with the alpha. And if the p-value is less than or equal to the alpha, then you're going to reject the null hypothesis. However, if p-value is greater than alpha, then you're going to fail to reject the null hypothesis. let's take a look at example 1. So with example 1, sorry, that was my little girl. She woke up from her nap. But so far she's okay. Let's just keep going. Example 1, it says the p-value for the hypothesis test p is equal to 0.0237. What is your decision if the level of the significance alpha is 1.05? So p-value versus alpha level. This will be pretty simple. If your p-value is going to be at 0.0237 and then your alpha is 0.05. Now, I always taught my kids, like my own babies at home, that if you're looking at inequality signs, think of it as an inequality signs that's always going to want to eat the bigger number. So in this case, it's going to be like this, okay? So in which case we are going to reject p is less than or equal to alpha, and we reject the null hypothesis. Now, similarly, for number 2, your p-value is a 0.027, and then you have 0.01, and so then you should have a greater than, so then my determination is a fail to reject the null hypothesis because p is greater than the alpha. Okay. So then let's take a look at the next part. How is the p-value found? So when you're determining the level for p, you are going to be considering the following, okay? And so you're going to look at a z-score, and there are 3 different conditions. There are 3 scenarios. For a left tail test p, which means you're looking for the area on the left tail. So I always like to draw a diagram so I can visually see what I'm talking about, which is this piece right over here, okay? And then, of course, for a right tail test, you're going to look at the area in the right tail. So visually, you're looking at this piece right over here. And then, of course, for a p equals 2, which is the area of the tail of the z-score, you're going to look at the z, negative z, and the positive z, and you're going to multiply them by 2. And the reason for that is because you have the exact same area on the left side versus the right side, and there's 2 of them. So obviously, you're going to multiply them by 2. So let's take a look at an example to see how this works. All right, example 2. Find the p-value for the left tail hypothesis test with a test statistic of z equals negative 2.23. Decide whether to reject the null hypothesis if the significance is equal to if the alpha is 0.01. So we're going to take a look at this. You're going to have your p versus your alpha. Now you're going to use the z table to determine what your z-score is if it is a negative 2.23, because you know your alpha is 0.01. So let's go ahead and do that. So as I'm looking at my z-score, so here's my z-score, I'm going to look at negative 2.23. So negative 2.23. And what is that? It is going to be a 0.0129. So I'm going to go back to this, and I have a 0.0129. Well, compare that with your alpha, and I think you would think that the 0.0129 is greater. So then therefore your answer is going to be, do you reject or fail to reject the null hypothesis? Because it is greater, the p-value is greater, you fail to reject the null hypothesis because your p-value is greater than the alpha value. All right, let's take a look at example 3. With example 3, it says find the p-value of the two-tail hypothesis. So it's a two-tail hypothesis with a statistic of z equals 2.14 and the alpha of 0.05. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to look at the table to see what is going to be my score. And then when I do that, I'm going to take that score and times it by 2. Remember, that's one of the conditions, because remember, it's a two-tail test, because here's the two tails. And because there's 2 of them, you will have to multiply them by 2. So let's take a look at that then. So here is my table. And with my table, I'm looking at this from the perspective of z is equal to negative 2.14 and positive 2.14. So negative 2.14 is right here. And I have a 0.0162. That's going to be my value, but I'm also going to have to multiply by 2 because it's a two-tail test. So I'm going to go ahead and take that 0.0162 times it by 2, which is going to get it an equal. Let's go ahead and put it right here. It's going to equal to 0.0324. So then with this one, obviously the alpha is greater than the p-value. So what is my determination on this? Do I reject the null hypothesis or fail to reject? We're going to say because 0.0324 is greater or equal to 0.05, we are going to reject the null hypothesis because p is less than or equal to the alpha. All right, let's go ahead and maybe jump in and practice with some objective, okay? So let's go to objective 6 and 7 on page 20. Pause the video and go ahead and practice this with A, B, and then A. All right, if you guys are ready, go ahead and take a look at the answers of the steps that I've done. Compare that with yours. And if you're completed and finished with this, we're going to move on to our next part. So I'm going to have you guys take a look over here. So what you're going to do is you're going to be taking a survey to see whether you are ready for college or not. And it's going to be at this link right here. So if you go ahead and go to that, it's going to take you to this page here. All right. So it's going to give you several questions, and you're going to be answering like very true, somewhat true, neutral, not very true, and not true for me at all. And it's not very long. And then hit submit, and it is going to give you a description of how ready you are in terms of college. And then once you're completed with that, what I want you to do with that result is how did you score, and make sure you answer that. And then what is your next step? When you're done with that, I want you to go ahead and do a comparison of high school versus college. What do you think they have in common? But then also, what are they, how do you feel like they are different? All right, you guys, that's basically it for week 5 Tuesday. As always, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.